Yo, so what is good, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video, and for today's video we are doing a very highly requested career simulation on this channel, and of course that is Cade Cunningham. Shout out to everyone that's been requesting this one. I'll throw a few up on the screen right here. Also, if you are new and enjoy career simulations, this is the channel for you, so be sure to smack that like button real quick and subscribe if you are new. So let's hop right into this and see what team actually ends up taking Cade in the 2021 NBA draft. So number 1 overall, Cade ends up going to the Detroit Pistons. Should be an interesting fit, honestly, because he can kind of be that guy there and control the team. So I'm pretty eager to see what this squad is looking like in year 1. Kind of see what this Pistons team that Cade is going to have around him is looking like. So let's go over the Pistons real quick and see what this team is looking like. Wondering if they still have Blake and D Rose and, you know, whoever else. So Anthony Edwards is actually on the squad. Blake Griffin, Kelly Oubre, aka Jelly Oubre, Cade Cunningham, Luke Kennard. Not a terrible team, not a great team. But with Cade and Anthony Edwards being there, that is a dynamic duo that will be able to build together for years upon years. So let's hop into the sim. So at the end of year 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo does get MVP, and to my surprise, Bol is actually the rookie of the year in 2021. Definitely want to check the all-rookie team. Make sure our guy made the all-rookie first team, as he did there alongside Bol, Evan Mobley, and some other absolute dogs. So year 1, we did miss the playoffs with only 34 wins. Not exactly what we want, but still a solid season right there. Cade was doing his thing. Anthony Edwards had a very solid year. You see Cade put up 18.5 points per game to go along with about 6.9 assists per game at now an 83 overall. So not too shabby whatsoever for the 20-year-old Cade. So considering we did not make the playoffs, we simmed right to the finals, and it's a Cavaliers versus Timberwolves final. Cavaliers actually end up winning it, and Colin Sexton gets finals MVP. And that's after a 50-point performance right there in Game 4 for Colin Sexton, so that's kind of insane. So year 2 here, our team has gotten some major upgrades already. As you can see, we added Chet in the draft as well. So we have Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, and Chet. Now that is a crazy big 3 of extremely young, talented players right there, with Chet actually getting Rookie of the Year as well, which has resulted in us going up about 20 wins from last season, going up from a 34-win team to a 53-win team just in one season. Obviously, a fantastic season there from Anthony Edwards. Our guy Cade finally getting in that 20-point-per-game club. Also doing solid on the assist end of it all. As well as Chet really showing out there with a double-double in his rookie season with 18.2 points per game as well. So I'm very confident with this squad going into the playoffs in only year 2, and I definitely see lots and lots of championships in this team's future. So our first round matchup is going to be up against the Washington Wizards, obviously with a healthy John Wall and Bradley Beal, and we actually end up losing to them, unfortunately, which does suck. So we get routed in 5, but there is always next year, as we have an extremely young team. We got a Hawks versus Mavericks final here. Of course, Luka Doncic up against Trae Young. Of course, these two are always going to be pinned against each other whenever you talk NBA. And in this time, Trae Young actually comes out on top in the 7-game series. So right here, we're moving into year 3, and let's see kind of how everyone's progressing in year 3. We got Cade at a 90 now, Anthony Edwards up to a 92, and of course our guy Chet's starting to come along too, as he's up to an 84 overall already. So this team honestly has one of the brightest futures in the NBA. As you can see, in year 3, Giannis gets an MVP season there with the Knicks. And let's see if our guy made any of the All-NBA teams. As you can see, All-NBA second team right there in a guard spot next to Ja Morant. Cade Cunningham already getting in there. And checking out the standings, our Detroit Pistons are the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference with 48 wins. So definitely not a bad season. A little step down from last year, but I think we are good. 26 point per game on this season for Cade Cunningham. Obviously amazing. Anthony Edwards, 25.1 points per game. And Chet's also starting to increase his as well, now at about 16.4 points per game. Honestly, a very deep squad we have as well. Having guys like Kendrick Nunn coming off the bench are fantastic role players, to say the least. We have first round matchup here up against the Philadelphia 76ers, who still have Ben and Joel. So let's see if we can rout them. As you can see, we actually successfully do, making it out of the first round for the first time in this sim, winning in 5. So big game there from Jelly Oubre and Anthony Edwards. Joel Embiid tried to do his thing, but it was not enough. Second round matchup now up against the Orlando Magic. This team is actually a very, very good Magic team, as they end up knocking us out 4-0, a clean sweep, despite great games there from Anthony Edwards and Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham with a little double-double action. We're just going to have to move on the next year and see what happens. As you can see, the finals here, we got Portland Trailblazers up against that very strong Magic team. So I'd rather the Magic win because, hey, I'd rather lose to the winner, I suppose, than the guy that got bumped. And as you can see, they did, and Zaire Williams actually gets the MVP of the finals. Now moving into year 4 of the sim, Cade Cunningham now up to a 92 overall, Chet at an 87, and Anthony Edwards at a 93. This team is very much coming together, as we have some great depth on the team as well. So let's see how year 4 actually plays out, as we have a 4.5 star system proficiency as well. Luka Doncic actually going ahead and getting MVP right there, and Chet actually Defensive Player of the Year, so you love to see it. We end as the 4th team in the Eastern Conference. I was kind of hoping to be a little bit higher, but it is what it is. And this year, all 3 of our core players actually being above that 22 point per game mark, which is actually incredible to see them all sharing the load like that. And this team can kind of come at you from a lot of different angles. Our first round matchup is going to be up against Trae Young and the Hawks, a good team to kind of put us to the test. As we're taking them to 7, let's see if we can knock them out. Unfortunately, we do get knocked in 7, but this team did just win the championship 2 seasons ago. So it was a very good matchup for us to kind of test just how good we are. Go right to the finals and kind of see what's going on. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals yet again versus the Phoenix Suns this time. So not really sure which team will end up taking this. But let's check it out, and then, of course, we'll hop into year 5. So, a very good series, honestly, as the Cavs end up winning 4-2, with Tyrese Haliburton getting Finals MVP. Moving into year 5 here, Cade and Anthony Edwards now at a 94, and Chet chilling at an 89. Our team, yet again, I think this is the championship contending team. Cade starting to build up his accolades there, now being a 2-time All-Star as well. And we have some good role players, like I keep saying. We really do have the depth to win a championship with this team. We have the stars. We have the depth. Now, can the coaching come through? Giannis Antetokounmpo getting an MVP season here with the New York Knicks. Of course, an incredible season, and it seems like he always goes to the Knicks in these sims. 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference this year with 54 wins. Not too bad. So yet again, another fantastic season for all the 3. Cade leading the team with 23.9 points per game, but definitely not by a big margin, as Chet and Anthony Edwards were absolutely doing amazing as well. We have a first round matchup up against the Boston Celtics and a starting center of Taco Fall, but we do end up routing them in 5. Huge games there from all 3 of them, as Jason Tatum actually dropped 52 to take the L. Things you hate to see. Second round matchup here up against the Orlando Magic, and yet again, this team just has our card. They are a very solid team, and they end up bouncing us in 6. Zaire Williams dropping 37 in that game. Cleveland Cavaliers versus the OKC Thunder right here in the finals, and I kind of want to see the Thunder win because I am a big fan of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, so hopefully they can do it, as they actually do end up beating the Cavs in 5. And I wonder who got Finals MVP. It was actually Jalen Johnson. So moving into year 6 of the sim here, Anthony Edwards and Cade both at a 95. Chet also getting up there as well. Cade Cunningham actually MVP season in year 6 of the sim, which is insane. We finished the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And of course, Cade had an incredible season, putting up over 30 points per game, now at a 97 overall. Of course, Chet and Anthony Edwards, of course, were doing amazing to go along with that. So our first round matchup is actually up against the Chicago Bulls. They have Denny, they have Lauri Markkanen, and Wendell Carter, so actually not a bad team for being the 7th seed, but we do end up knocking them out. 37-point performance there from Cade Cunningham, absolutely snapping, moving us into the second round up against Giannis Antetokounmpo and the New York Knicks, as we get a clean sweep on them. Giannis could not do enough, only dropping 23 points and taking that L, moving us for the first time in this sim to the Eastern Conference Finals, up against this Magic team that has routed us many times. And as you can see, it happens yet again. They are our kryptonite. This Magic team just keeps doing it to us. Now they're up against a very talented Pelicans team with Bronny, Zion, and Sharif Cooper, though. So it might not be an easy road for them to get a chip this year, as this Pelicans team ends up winning in 6 and Zion gets Finals MVP. As we now move into year 7, which should be about the start of Cade's actual prime, 97 overall, Anthony Edwards at a 96, and Chet at a 91 overall. So this team is definitely starting to come together. Giannis Antetokounmpo gets yet another MVP season with the Knicks. And we finished the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference behind only the New York Knicks as well. Chet actually leading our team in scoring on the season. Cade putting up 24.8 points per game. Chet putting up 28.1 and 13 rebounds per game to go along with 3.0 blocks per game. We have a first round matchup here up against the 7th seed Charlotte Hornets. Looking at this team, they do have Jalen Green and DeAndre Hunter as well as Rudy Gobert, so not a bad team. But we end up knocking them out in 5 pretty easily. Huge game there from Chet and Anthony Edwards. And of course, Cade doing his thing. Honestly, all of them are so good out of the 3. Toronto Raptors in the second round here with Zach LaVine. So we end up knocking them out as well in 5. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Cade leading the team in that game, so we'll take it. Eastern Conference Finals, we got a solid matchup here as well. Up against Giannis and the New York Knicks. This is obviously a very good team he has around him as well. So hopefully we can rout them as we end up actually destroying them in 5. Cade Cunningham definitely doing his thing there as well as Chet and Anthony Edwards. All 3 of them deserve their props pretty much every time. Terrence Clark putting up 37, but not enough to win it all. Jazz is our finals matchup. They have Amani Bates and Evan Mobley, so this is no joke of a team, and hopefully we can pull it out. We find ourselves up 3-0, and let's hop into Simcast as always. We hop into Simcast, we jump in 132 points to 91, and honestly, it's in the bag. So we will be taking our first NBA championship for Cade Cunningham, Chet, and Anthony Edwards as this clock runs down with about a 40-point victory over the Utah Jazz. 132 to 191 is the final score, and we are the 2028 NBA champions. Definitely interesting to see which of the big 3 actually ends up getting the Finals MVP award for this one. To take a look from the box score of that one, Evan Mobley absolutely tried to put in the work for their team, but we had a 35-point performance from Anthony Edwards and 34 from Cade, and Cade actually ends up getting his first Finals MVP in year 7. Now moving into year 8, see how we can just make this Pistons team an absolute dynasty. Everybody is just going up in overall. So let's see how it plays out. Cade gets a regular season MVP right off of that Finals MVP, 28.2 points per game with 11.5 assists per game to go along with it. Looking at the standings from that one, we finished the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with 60 wins and only 22 losses on the season. A fantastic season from all 3 of the big 3. So coming off a championship, we have a first round matchup up against the Chicago Bulls. Of course, with Denny, they have Colin Gillespie from Villanova, Lauri Markkanen, and they have a pretty solid team, but they were not enough to stand in our way as we knocked them out 4-2. Chet popping off for 37 and 10 that game. Second round matchup, we have one up against the Atlanta Hawks, who still have Trae Young. So definitely a good team. We knocked them out in 5. Whoa! That was a 175-point win for our Pistons team. 52 and 14 from Chet, and about 42 points there from Anthony Edwards as well. That's pretty crazy. I've never seen something like that. New York Knicks is our Eastern Conference Finals matchup, and of course this is going to be an absolute dogfight as we're going to Game 7. So let's hop into So let's hop into Simcast and see how this Game 7 here plays out. So let's get it. Zooming through it, it looks like we have a slight advantage over them right now in the third, and it's going to be kind of a hard game. They were just down a lot, but they're starting to actually crawl back into this. They take a 2-point lead with 35 seconds, and this is our only opportunity to tie it up, and we end up actually losing because of it by 2, 140 to 138. A fantastic effort there by Cade, putting up 30 points and 17 assists, but unfortunately we just could not get it done, as the Knicks will be moving into the finals here up against the Utah Jazz, and that's what the Utah Jazz squad's looking like, and of course you know what this Knicks team is looking like, as we seem to have played them a lot. So let's see how this actually plays out. Let's see if Giannis gets another ring or if the Jazz steal it from him. And of course, the Knicks end up winning 4-1. And Giannis, I'm assuming, is going to be the finals MVP for the Knicks. And of course, he is. Moving into year 9 of the sim, Cade now up to a 98 overall. Anthony Edwards as well at a 98. And Chet at a 93. So this team, yet again, is a championship team any given year. So let's see how it plays out. Chet MVP right there, 26.3 points per game, 14.1 rebounds per game, and an astonishing 3.6 blocks per game. We finished the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and honestly, I'm going to just stop showing these stats soon because every year they're just insane, and it's just a lot of the same. All of them are just putting up over 24 points per game at this point. First round matchup up against Jalen Green and Bronny on this Hornets team, and they actually end up upsetting us. They had James Wiseman as well. I don't know how they snuck into being the 7th seed then. That's kind of crazy. But a really rough game there from Cade Cunningham. We just could not get it done. Hawks versus the Kings here in the finals. Hawks, of course, with Trigger Trey, and let's see what this actual Kings squad is looking like. De'Aaron Fox, Devin Booker, Marvin Bagley. If I had to take a guess, I would say this Hawks team should probably rout them pretty easily, as they actually end up sweeping them clean in the finals 4-0. And I'm guessing that this is a Trae Young MVP of the finals, because who else could it have been on that team? And of course it is. Moving into year 10 of the sim here in the year 2030. Let's see what the squad's looking like now. 99 overall Cade and Anthony Edwards, and a 94 overall Chet. Let's see how it turns out this year. I'm feeling good things about this year. Cade Cunningham getting yet another regular season MVP here in year 10. And we finished actually the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year with 58 wins. Cade putting up obviously a fantastic stat line in year 10, doing his thing, and of course can't take any of the praise away from Anthony Edwards and Chet, as of course they do their thing every single year as well, with Chet being the worst of the 3 scoring wise at 24.9 points per game. So the 2031 playoffs here, we are up against the Bucks in the first round, and let's just see how it plays out as we end up routing them in 6, 4-2, as we are going to be facing our second round matchup in Giannis Antetokounmpo and the New York Knicks. Great game there from Anthony Edwards and Cade. Moving on to the second round here, up against Terrence Clark, Isaac Okoro, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, as we end up successfully beating them. Man, I can't talk today, but we're moving to the Eastern Conference Finals here up against the Toronto Raptors, and I think that we should be able to take this team, but they are taking it to 7 with us, so let's hop into Sibcast as we find ourselves in a very tight game. They are up by 1 with 1:40 left. And we get it downloaded. Chet for an easy bucket, putting us up by 1 with about 1:30 left in this game. They could not get anything done on their possession, so we have the ball again. Anthony Edwards, clean little layup, splitting the defenders, going up by 3. And that's all she wrote, as we are up 135 to 130, throwing up an absolute prayer. Chet bringing it down, and of course sending us to the line in hopes that we maybe miss. But with a 6-point lead in only 10 seconds, I don't think that there's really much they can get done here. As, of course, we are actually going to be winning this game and moving on to the finals. GG, Raptors. You gave us a good fight, but we just are the better team. Chet dapping them up, of course, as a good sportsman like he is, as well as Anthony Edwards. So let's see how this actually all turns out. So here we are in the finals up against the OKC Thunder, Jalen Johnson, Jonathan Kuminga, and a very, very solid team. So let's see how it all plays out. They get up on us 3-0, and we get a game. We get 2 games, and I thought maybe we'd have a little comeback, but we get routed in 6. Elijah Fisher getting Finals MVP there, moving us into year 11. So hopefully we have better luck this year. At least we made it to the finals. That's a lot of what we could hope for, at least getting there. Cade Cunningham in year 11 getting yet another regular season MVP with the Detroit Pistons absolutely going off. Number 1 seed in the East, 60 wins under our belt right there. Anthony Edwards, Cade, and Chet, once again, all having fantastic seasons. You love to see it. So let's see who our first round matchup is going to be up against. We got the Brooklyn Nets, and they have Jaden Hardy, they have Jarrett Allen still, but not that good of a team in all honesty, as we end up beating them. Wow, Chet absolutely popping off there with 42 points, 17 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. That's a big game right there for Chet. And of course, Anthony Edwards definitely doing his thing as well with 40 points in that game. Moving into the second round here with a matchup up against the Milwaukee Bucks. They have a very solid squad as well, especially because this guy Tony Petrovic is apparently an absolute baller from what I've been seeing. So let's see how it plays out. We end up actually routing them 4-0. Tony Petrovic leading the team in scoring, but it was not enough to get it done. So we're going to be moving into the Eastern Conference Finals and see what's going on. And I meant to say finals, as of course that was the Eastern Conference finals right there that we actually won. We're moving into the championship, the actual finals, up against the San Antonio Spurs, as they have Karl Anthony Towns and Mikey Williams. They were the number 1 seed on the Western Conference side, and we were the number 1 seed on the Eastern Conference side. So not going to be an easy matchup by any means, as we get up 2-1, 3-1. And let's hop into Simcast. They're not going to let this go easy. They get another game, bringing the series back to 3-2. Moving in to the next game. Hopefully this doesn't have to go to 7. So let's see what Simcast is going to say. I really don't want it to go to 7 because anything can happen in Game 7. So hopping into Game 6 here, it is an absolute flood out here. We're up 151-108. Anthony Edwards catching an and one body right there, putting us up even more. And of course, we are going to be getting yet another championship here, as there's no chance that you can come back from this. You would need some type of miracle. 154-108 with 3 seconds left, holding the ball, throwing up a prayer, and of course a brick, as we end up absolutely killing the Spurs in Game 6 and taking home the trophy. The real question is, which of the 3 is going to get the Finals MVP award this year? Cade Cunningham, Chet, or Anthony Edwards? Let's see. With Cade dropping 45 points and 13 assists there, and Chet also having a fantastic game. It turns out Cade Cunningham, yet again, is the one to get the Finals MVP trophy there. Moving into year 12, and 99 overall for both of them. Still, Chet creeping up there, now at a 95 overall. And let's see how year 12 plays out. And Chet actually gets MVP. I feel like the last 4 seasons, it's been all Pistons getting MVPs of the regular season. We finished as the number 1 seed, and of course the stats across the board are phenomenal. Let's see where our first round matchup is. Kind of interested. We got the Bucks yet again, and we beat them 4-0 last year, but this year they are taking it to 7 with us. So let's hop into Simcast and see if they can right their wrongs, or if we're just going to knock them over yet again. And in overtime, we barely beat them 125-122. They had a 43-point performance in the fourth quarter to even push it to OT, so that's insane. Moving into the second round here, up against that Orlando Magic team, that was certainly our kryptonite early in this sim. Hopefully we can knock them out here. They do have Bronny now as well, which is never a good sign. But in Game 7, we do clutch up 41-point performance there from Cade Cunningham, moving us into the Eastern Conference Finals, meeting Giannis Antetokounmpo and the New York Knicks yet again. And of course, this time, we get routed in 5. That's tough. Giannis is clutching up. But will Giannis get himself yet another championship here? Will he solidify himself with another ring up against this Kings team? Wow, this is a pretty good Kings team. They added Ben Simmons as well. So let's see how it turns out. The Knicks are about to destroy them 4-0. Okay, Giannis gets yet another ring and yet another Finals MVP to his resume, moving into year 13. Cade and Anthony Edwards at a 99. Accolades are building up like crazy, as you can see. And Chet actually gets MVP yet again. So maybe Chet's going to be a 99 overall soon with us. Let's see. Standings, we finished the number 2 seed. Pretty much tied with the Knicks, but we end up as the number 2 seed. I guess Maybe we lost to them some amount of times in the regular season or whatever. All of us, of course, fantastic stat lines. First round matchup here up against the Miami Heat. And we end up routing them in 7, thankfully. I don't like how many times we have to go to Game 7 in the first round. It's never a good look. Second round here up against that Bucks squad that took us to 7 last year. So we cannot count this team out, as Petrovic is now at a 99 overall at their power forward position as well. So let's keep an eye on that as we get routed in 5 in the second round. That's tough. No one really did too much on our team, in all honesty. Apparently, Stuart Bennett was their golden charm this time with 36 points. Okay, moving to the finals here, you got the Bucks up against the Thunder. And let's see who ends up clutching it out and getting themselves a championship. Will Jalen Johnson do it, or will Tony Petrovic do it? So let's see what's up. A very back-and-forth series, and it's going to Game 7, and in 7, Jalen Johnson gets himself yet another Finals MVP. Moving into year 14 of this sim, 99 overall Cade, 99 overall Anthony Edwards, and now a 96 overall Chet. Tony Petrovic getting regular season MVP, and we're the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. We have ourselves a first-round matchup here up against the Philadelphia 76ers. A pretty solid team, but I think that we are better. But, of course, we have to go to Game 7 because that's just how every single one of our first-round matchups go. But we do end up coming out on top. Moving into the second-round matchup here up against the Toronto Raptors. And, of course, we do knock them out with a big game there from Chet, kind of carrying us low-key. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals here up against the Orlando Magic. Yet again, a team that was just our kryptonite throughout this entire thing, as they end up beating us 4-2. Moving on to the finals here up against the Thunder. Unfortunately, not us. But we'll see how it plays out. See if the Magic take it or if the Thunder take it. And it's looking like this Magic team is just a pretty dominant team, getting yet another championship in this sim. Moving into year 15 here. Anthony Edwards 99, Cade 99, Chet 95. Cade getting yet another regular season MVP right here. You love to see it. First round matchup. Actually, what was our standings? We finished the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with 63 wins. So definitely solid. Cade, fantastic season. And of course, giving the props to Chet and Anthony Edwards as well, doing their respective things. First round matchup, we got ourselves up against the Philadelphia 76ers yet again. They did take us to 7 last year, but this time we knocked them out in 5. Second round matchup, we got the Indiana Pacers with LaMelo Ball here. I think that we should be able to take this. The rest of the team's nothing too crazy. As long as we can contain LaMelo, yep, we knock him out in 5, so nothing too crazy. Chet doing his thing. You love to see it. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals pretty easily up till this point. Up against Tony Petrovic and this Bucks team. And we get routed by them. No fun. Finals here up against the Spurs. Bucks versus Spurs. I think the Bucks are going to take this one, and Tony Petrovic is going to get a Finals MVP award. And he does. Year 16. Let's see what we got in Year 16. Still at a 99 overall for both of them, and Chet at a 95. Cade's starting to get up there in age, so that regression wall's probably going to start hitting in about the next year. 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference with 61 wins. That's pretty insane that we're that low with that many wins, but okay. Chet actually being the highest scorer on the team. First round matchup here up against the Orlando Magic. Things you don't love to see because they're our kryptonite. And this time we thankfully actually come out on top, being able to move into the second round up against that Bucks team that did just win the championship last year. And we actually do beat them, thankfully. So hopefully that's a sign that we're going to win the chip this year. Eastern Conference Finals here up against that number 1 seed Toronto Raptors team that went crazy in the regular season. We end up knocking them out as well, 4-2. Getting ourselves another shot at a finals trophy right here up against the Spurs. It's not going to be an easy one, though, as they are up 3-1, and we get knocked out in 5. Mikey Williams getting Finals MVP. Here in Year 17, Chet has went down 2 overall points, finally starting to hit that little regression. Petrovic getting a regular season MVP with the Milwaukee Bucks. First overall seed in the Eastern Conference, though, which is definitely a huge W. Chet doing his thing. Anthony Edwards and Cade finally starting to calm down a little, getting in that lower 20 range as opposed to that higher 20 range, points per game wise, of course. First round matchup up against the Knicks. I'm assuming Giannis has probably retired by this point, but we'll definitely have to check that out. Yeah, okay, so there's no more Giannis there, so I think this should be an easy dub. We knocked them out in 6, 4-2. Moving on to a second round matchup here up against the Raptors. This Raptors team, I feel like honestly we beat them just about every time we go up against each other, despite them being one of the top seeds in the East. And it's looking like history is going to repeat itself as we knock them out in 6. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals, meeting this Nets team here. Pretty interesting to see the Nets getting this far. They're pushing it to 7 with us, and we knock them out in 7. Chet having a fantastic game there, putting us back in the position to maybe get another Finals trophy here up against the Thunder and Jalen Johnson. They get up 2-0 on us. We get a game, and yet again, we get bounced in 5 back-to-back years. Jalen Johnson, Finals MVP, moving into year 18. Cade now to 94 overall, really starting to hit that regression wall. Hopefully we can get him one more trophy before it's all over. Tony Petrovic, regular season MVP. We do make the playoffs, of course, up against the Knicks in the first round. We 4-0 them, clean sweep. Let's see how Cade actually did in that game. He might have honestly had a pretty solid game. And he did pretty solid, 20 and 13 right there. Second round matchup up against this Bucks team that's been getting increasingly good, it seems, in this sim. So let's see what we could do. Hopefully Tony Petrovic doesn't absolutely cook us. He was the MVP of the regular season this year, and he did his thing and took the dub, unfortunately. So let's see how the finals play out. Tony Petrovic, yet another finals MVP. This dude is apparently an absolute beast. Moving into year 19 of the sim here. 20, 39, Anthony Edwards at 93, Cade at a 91. Definitely starting, the regression wall's hitting him pretty hard. He's now at, 38 years old, I believe, so it makes sense. Tony Petrovic getting yet another MVP season with this Bucks team. We do make playoffs, of course, and we're going to have to see how it plays out up against the Nets in the first round here. They were able to push this series to 7, but we did knock them out. 43-point performance there from Anthony Edwards to kind of seal the deal over this Nets team. Moving into the second round here up against the Washington Wizards. And let's see how it plays out. We get knocked out in 6. Wow, man. We just have not had any luck in these playoffs in these later years of our career here. Wow, what a surprise. The Bucks win, and let's see. Tony Petrovic gets yet another Finals MVP. And after that season, Cade actually ended up retiring. So he did make the Hall of Fame, and he did have his jersey retired by the Pistons, but I kind of forgot to show it because I wasn't thinking that he was going to retire right at that point, so I wasn't really ready for it. So we'll just go into the NBA awards as far as how he ranked everything. So I'll just let this roll and you can kind of see his name and all. But if you made it this far throughout the video, as always, comment GOAT, G-O-A-T, in all capitals so that I know you are a true Bean Squad supporter and you made it all the way through the video. That is love, and of course I will acknowledge that. As well, if you made it this far throughout the video, let me know who you guys want me to do next in the comments below. If I choose your person, I will throw you in the video like I did today. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Stay safe. Bean Squad, I love you all. Have a fantastic day. Peace.